Today, we are going to talk about indirect characterization. What is indirect characterization? Indirect characterization is when an author shows you what a character is like instead of directly telling you. You have to pay attention to clues in the story, like what the character says, does, or how others react to figure out their personality. For example, if an author describes a character biting their nails and pacing, you might guess they are nervous. The author doesn't say this person is nervous, but you could tell from their actions. Indirect characterization makes stories more interesting. Instead of being told, this is the hero or this is the villain, you get to figure it out by yourself by watching what the characters say and do. This helps you become a better reader because you're making inferences, smart guesses based on clues. You're a detective of sorts. Direct versus indirect characterization. If the author were to tell you Patrick is lazy, you don't have to do any of the work. However, if the author shows you, like in SpongeBob SquarePants, where he's asleep on his recliner with the alarm clock next to him in the living room, you could figure out on your own that Patrick is lazy. The 5 ways readers can find indirect characterization work with the acronym STEAL. That means each letter stands for something that gives us a clue. These are speech, thoughts, affect, actions, and looks. Let's look closer at what each of these things mean. So speech, what does the character say and how do they say it? For example, in Teen Titans Go, Beast Boy often cracks silly jokes. His speech, what he says, shows us that he doesn't take things too seriously. Thoughts. What is revealed about what the character is thinking or feeling? For example, in Inside Out, we hear Riley's inner thoughts through her emotions. When she's worried about school, it shows she cares about fitting in. They don't need to tell us directly, I'm worried about fitting in. When we could hear her thoughts that she's worried, we can figure that out on our own. Next is effect on others. How do other characters react to this character? For example, in The Simpsons, when Bart enters a room, teachers and classmates often sigh or roll their eyes. The teacher doesn't have to tell us, I think Bart is a troublemaker. Her reaction, the effect he has on her, rolling her eyes, lets us know without anybody having to tell us directly. Actions. What does a character do? For example, in Scooby-Doo, Shaggy and Scooby always run and hide when they see a monster. Neither Scooby nor Shaggy have to tell us that they are scared or not very brave. When we notice that every time there's a monster, they run and hide, we could figure out on our own that they aren't very brave. Last is looks. What does a character look like? How do they dress or present themselves? For example, in Frozen, Elsa's icy blue gown and crown make her look powerful. We don't have to be told she's a queen. The way she dresses tells us that she's a queen. Let's look at how we could see all of these things together in one story. At lunch, Marisol slid into the seat next to her friends, loudly announcing, one day, I'm going to open my own art studio. Just watch. While she doodles in her sketchbook, she thought about how much she wanted her little brother to see that following your dreams was possible. Her friends smiled and leaned in, excited to see her newest drawings, showing how much they respected her creativity. When the principal asked her volunteers to design the mural in the hallway, Marisol was the first to raise her hand, ready to get started. With paint on her jeans and colorful braids tied back in a scarf, Marisol looked every bit the artist she claimed to be. So, did you catch how we learned about Marisol without me ever saying she's creative or she's a leader? That's you practicing indirect characterization. The author showed us who she was through clues, and it's our job as readers to figure it out. We can remember these clues through the word steal. Speech. Marisol says she'll open an art studio. That tells us she's ambitious. She has big goals. Thoughts. She thinks about inspiring her little brother, which shows us she's caring. The author never has to say Marisol is caring. When we notice that she is thinking about her little brother, we can notice on our own and make the inference on our own that she is caring. Effect on others. Her friends lean in and smile so that we see that they respect her. Actions. She volunteers to paint the mural. That shows that she's a leader. Notice that the author never says Marisol is a leader. We can tell by her actions when she volunteers. Looks. Her colorful braids and paint-stained jeans show her artist side. We can see by how she dresses and how she prepares, she is all the role of an artist, ready to step in to that part of her character. Today, you're going to notice how the author gives you, the reader, hints about who the character really is by using steal, their speech, thoughts, effect on others, actions, and looks. Remember, what the text actually says is important. But what's even more important are the inferences you make, the smart conclusions you draw based on those hints. That's how you uncover the deeper truth about a character, not just what's on the surface.